cast. I'll now try to bring in the topic of taxation. Uh, Given that right from the stamp duty that a developer pays when he buys the land to the next set of stamp duty and registration charge that the end user pays, plus all the excise and VAT that goes into construction and all of that, somebody did a research and it came up to roughly about 35% of the cost of the building as taxation. Uh, what are your thoughts, Nilotpal, on how can we, rationalize this number? It's wishful thinking that it's going to go away and the cost of the building is going to come down by 35%. But is there some sort of a methodology wherein we can rationalize this and this number comes down so that it actually brings in the willingness to pay in a much better fashion, so that probably houses closer to the city can become affordable?
Yeah, I think it's, within the country, I think it's a left pocket, right pocket. Yeah, I mean, if you really look at it. So, when we're talking about affordable housing, so what are the leeways we can give to the individual consumer? Now, leeways could be anything. It could be, obviously, tax leeway. It could be subsidies, yeah. What is it that we can, basically, to increase that spurt, yeah? Give a thrust in that sector to actually entice the consumer also to give a push that he demands for it. And therefore, I think from my perspective, if the government has a sort of a cooperation built up in this aspect, then this could drive it faster. I think the understanding of the tax element, yeah, both on the consumer side, is sometimes in the dark, yeah, that he doesn't know how much is the total amount, basically, which is going as a part of tax. So if he has a basic understanding in the breakup, and the government also tries to break the obstacles, and he mentioned on a very vital point about the windows. Now you have to understand that it's very notional, but every window you create is basically a cost. So if we can reduce the number of windows, that itself is expediting the process, and therefore the overall impact on the cost. You have to understand that, as he rightly said, once you mentioned that it used to take 1 month or 2 months, now it takes 6 months. So imagine the interest, and then you basically back calculate, and you just have to do a simple P&L on that, that this is a virtual cost which you can reduce and basically help the consumer and entice him to do it further. So that's my perspective.
So what I understand is, you're saying instead of touching upon or rationalizing the tax structure, it's better to streamline our approval process so that the projects can be delivered way before time, much faster. The developer can initiate construction probably within a month of buying the land and hand over the project in 18 months. That's a better way to go about doing it, rather than give interest subsidies or taxation benefits and things like that, right? Yeah, there's a mic.
The reason is that you can always do that, but the legislation in our country is such that to get a tax done away with is possibly bigger time than to get done away with windows.
2022 is the deadline, yeah, exactly, as I understand. So, fair enough. I think we are running short of time, so last question to Amit. You think the whole concept of interest subsidies, things that ICICI Bank has just announced, is exciting enough to stimulate the development of mass housing that we are talking of?
Yeah, definitely it is there, but I mentioned earlier, what is affordable? The kind of people we are looking at is the laborer kind of people and drivers and all. So affordable for them is not 14 to 16 lakhs. For them, they are expecting 4 to 6 lakhs. And by merely giving 6.5% interest, it doesn't, they are concerned about the EMIs. Their EMI should not exceed 2,000 to 3,000 rupees a month. And even if they do 6.5% today, so EMI will go in the tune of 10,000 rupees. So whether they can pay this 10,000, 8,000 to 10,000 rupees EMI. So this is the major concern. What target we are addressing and what should be the guideline for this.
Right, got it. Before we throw open the panel to questions from the audience, one quick question to all my panel members, and we'll go from Nilotpal to your left. Do you think this dream is really achievable by 2020? Just a yes or a no?
I say if it's a human nature, we can go for it.
What's your take on it, Amit?
Yep, lot of thought process has been done on this before announcing, but we are also just mentioning yes or no, yes or no. But it should be major thing which our friend Mr. Patel mentioned. There should be single window to clearance of projects, because we have to now think for fast clearance of projects, fast construction. It is possible, I told, when we have to make every day the kind of counting has to be done, where we have to reach 20 million houses by end of sixth year. So every day counting, if it is not done, then I think
so
it's,
I
it's
take
really
it.
Yeah.
So I take it it's a maybe from you.
Yeah.
Okay. Hiren bhai.
It is difficult, but if there is a will, there is a way.
So it's again a maybe from you.
Yes.
What's your take on it?
I think it can be done. Only the number of volume, I mean, that is skeptical. And still we are in a discussion phase probably, so that should have been earlier, or maybe we postponed to 2020 to 25. So that's what I believe.
And Parth bhai?
According to me, it is not 100% achievable, but we can make a significant impact on the housing sector.
Wow, this is very strange. It's surprising that none of us are very confident that we can deliver the target laid down by our Honorable Prime Minister. I'll now like to take questions from the audience, if you have any. There's a question here. Yes.
I'm Parul Jhaveri, architect. We work more on using indigenous materials and local craftsmen. So my question is going to be, how long will these precast units last? What is the life of concrete? That's one thing. Secondly, why can't we use the local materials and start using the local craftspeople that are already available in rural areas? Why are we targeting precast, cement, concrete? Because there's plenty of mud available. If the chemistry can, innovate and add some additives to it to make it a good mud block that can last, because our mud houses we have seen in conservation that they have lasted for 200, 300 years with just lime plaster outside that. So why are we only targeting on concrete, which is not going to be available in that quantum? At the same time, we should not forget that our Honorable Prime Minister has committed in the Paris Convention that we are going to, reduce our carbon footprint. And cement and concrete are going to increase the carbon footprint, and so is glass. So are we going to thinking of addressing those problems? And also to reduce, this will also help us in creating enough work at rural level and reduce the migration as well. Sorry.
Very, very valid point. And this brings into play our traditional building construction technology which existed in this country for a very, very long time. However, when I picked up the policy and I read through it, it said that brick and mortar houses. So it didn't mention mud blocks or anything of that sort, and hence the discussion was around precast. But I fairly support your
Lime mortar. Lime is available all throughout the world.
Yes.
And the processing is much, it's not heavy processing, it's not high-end processing that you require. And it can be processed at local village levels. And it's very environmentally friendly material.
Yes, I agree with you
and
completely.
Are we thinking also of creating, giving them houses, but they have to be comfortable.
Right. So I'll ask two of my panel members to address your point before we go on to the next question. One is to Nilotpal. Do you really have, like she mentioned, chemicals which can be used to mix with local mud and create houses at a local level? And I'll also ask Hirenbhai to respond to her question, because I understand that you would have done some work on that one. So I think Nilotpal, first you can take her question.
Yeah, ma'am. Yes, obviously mud is one of the options, and you can obviously combine lime mortar. The only issue was the availability of the top layer of soil as mud, and how many can you build, and how are you going to replenish that? Also, it's also process oriented. Yeah, if you're going to build, let us say 50,000 houses, let's say of which 45 or 50% of the house is in the rural area, and the government diktat says that they are trying to attempt to convert all the rural houses to pakka houses. Yeah, now lime mortar availability, lime is not the question is not of the availability, it's about the quality. As we see that from our perspective, as we do a lot of research on chemistry, that the quality of lime available and the processing it needs to do, that is quite a human's task. Rather than, manufacturing, producing cement and using blended materials like fly ash. There is a lot of fly ash available if you really look at it. Now, where are you going to do those fly ash? Are you going to really store them and bunk them? Because that is an environmental hazard. Fly ash bricks, for example. Today, people are talking in terms of low-cost geopolymer concrete, which does not use cement as all. So basically, the embodied energy is also very, very low. The reason is why I just put in a topic of, let's say precast, was precast can form a part of it, cannot form the entirety. Yeah, precast has been successful in terms of durability in the Western countries, which has adopted it maybe 30 years, 40 years back, and therefore the durability is not questionable. If you look at very cold weather countries like the Scandinavian countries, they have adopted precast maybe 40 years back, and that's the worst condition of harsh environment. And if it can last, and today technologies can use bare minimum cement content of 200 to 250 kg as well. In India, we use maybe 350 for an M20 concrete. Abroad, they use 220 kilo, of which 30% is supplementary cementitious material. So we have to be innovative, and we have to have a blend of different technologies, which is, depending on the remoteness. So if lime is available in a particular area, we use lime. If we see that in the urban areas, because of paucity of space, we need to have precast, then we got to go to precast. Otherwise, cast in situ. And when we're talking about this, these would not go more than 3 or 4 stories. We are not talking about multi-storied because of the affordability, etc. And, if you have to hoist things, 14th floor, you imagine the cost. So everything has a cost to it. So I guess it's a blend of technologies, and we have worked with a lot of technologies. Of course, this is not a forum, but yes, there are possibilities in various avenues.
And Hirenbhai, what's your take?
See, according to me, it has to be the blend of both. Of course, you have to, because ultimately, even if you have the material and you have the technology, you still need skilled people. And skilled means in the sense that those people who are there, who are able to do the work, they can be given training, because there is already a lot of craftsmanship which is available. So I do agree with Parul that we have to look at it in a very balanced way, that yes, we have the technology, but how with our traditional wisdom, whatever we have and the knowledge, how those people themselves can be put for these kinds of use. You know, even for the erection of, for example, panels, or even I would say that a stone lintel, a ready stone available lintel, is a kind of a precast element only.
Yes.
It's
We
made out
always
of
had
stone.
precast stone
natural,
elements all
yes.
over Rajasthan.
Yes.
And in Northeast, you have the bamboo. So we have to use local materials, emphasize that even in housing, and then probably we'll be able to meet our needs sooner than we think.
Absolutely. Agree with you completely on that one. Any other questions?
Yep, hi, I am Jigar Mota from JLL Ahmedabad office. I have a question for Parth that now, new generation in the even development lobby has come on board. Now, what do you think that, as you are like-minded people within the same forum, do you see that kind of the adoption of the new technologies and the new ideas is really acceptable, as we are really talking about a lot of technologies over here? So do you see that really there is an adoption or exception is there within the forum?
Right. The technology is getting cheaper and cheaper by the day. So before 1 year or 2 years, nobody is talking about sewage treatment plant. Right now, each and every project, willingly or compulsorily, people are doing it. The sewage treatment plant kind of technologies people are using, even in under construction building, because of the ma'am is saying that use local labors, but still the labor is also getting costlier and costlier by the day. So we have to have new technologies in terms of construction and in terms of use also. After like for the building, for the end users also, there are so many new technologies, like people are using double glazed vacuum windows nowadays. So this is a small but very useful change in these days. It is costly, but now it is getting cheaper. So by the time, so now we can think of in affordable housing also, we can incorporate such technological views with the, because see, these people who are going to live in this kind of houses are now, it is like they are not that literate or that developed people. So we have to teach them by our designs. We have to teach them the lifestyle. We have to upgrade their lifestyles with the landscape and everything of overall development. So that is a huge burden upon the architects and the developers both. So of course, new technologies are most welcome. Thank you.
Right. Thank you, Parth. Any other questions? Yes, there I see a hand. Paresh bhai.
Friends, we have been discussing about the costly houses and how to cut down the cost. That is the problem. That is what I can find out from this discussion. Because most of the speakers are of the opinion that if we want to construct houses and achieve this goal, which is given by the Honorable Prime Minister, then the price of the house, as it appears to me, should not exceed 6 to 10 lakhs. It should be between 6 to 10 lakhs. Then only we can construct this many number of houses and there will be purchasers. What happens today is most of the rich people or upper middle class people, they all have more than one house or more than one apartment. Say, speaking for myself, I have more than one house and more than one apartment. But then how to cut down the cost? Because the subject is housing for all by 2022. Now, that solution also we should give, or we should discuss at least. Otherwise, what will happen? That we will say that the house cost is about 40 lakhs, 30 lakhs, 50 lakhs. It is not affordable. Because 2022 housing for all means economical thing, economics, what is cheap. Now, how do we buy or construct a cheap house? The thing is, as I understand, we should connect the problem with the possibility of less cost. This is the problem, how to cut down the cost. As I understand and as I know, my knowledge may be defective because I am not a builder or promoter, I am a lawyer. But I feel that the cost of 1 square meter of construction is about rupee 22,000. If I am wrong, please correct me. I think that, Rocky sir, barabar kahu chu, it is more? I'm not
It's
on
much
profit.
lower than that, Paresh.
I know. I am only talking about a good quality house. It can be 16,000, 18,000 or something like that. Now suppose if we are going to construct 50 square meter house, means 60 square yards, then it will cost, the cost of construction will be around rupees 7.5 lakhs or good quality house with lift, etc., etc. Now what is town planning scheme? In town planning scheme, the government acquires 40% of land without giving any compensation. Suppose if you have a land of 10,000 square meters, then the government will acquire 4,000 to 5,000 square meters. Government, this is also the duty of the government. You see, housing for all by 2022 is not only the duty of the promoters and builders. Therefore, suppose if a builder is asked that we are giving you the permission under RERA, because in RERA now you have to go to that authority. But you first of all, simultaneously with the construction of 100 good flats of say more than 50 lakhs, 1 crore, you must construct 100 houses at this cost and government will give you land free of cost. Then I think that because the government has not at all paid anything to any farmer whose land has been acquired. Now it is also the duty of the government to give the land, because otherwise the builders will not be able to give you the houses for less than 25-20 lakhs of rupees. Therefore, as Jakshay Bhai rightly said, we should unite with each other. वो कांटा का बोला ना कि कांटा चुभेगा तो साथ में आओ, because it is also the duty, pious duty of each and every promoter to see that the goal is achieved. And I feel that if the government will extend its help, then this may not be difficult. That housing for all by 2022, even our driver, our servant, they all will be the owners of houses of about 40 to 50 square meters at a cheap rate of about 6 to 7 lakhs of rupees. And if the banks are giving loan, then it will be a wonderful thing. Thank you very much.
This very valid point, Paresh Bhai. This reminds me of a project that Shapurji Palanji are doing in West Bengal called as Shukho Brishti. It's a beautiful project where the government has given them land for free. And they are supposed to build EWS housing and hand it over to the government. They are supposed to build LIG housing and hand it over to the government. The government does allocation for these houses through a lottery system. The MIG housing is again on a lottery system, but done by the developer itself. And then he gets additional FSI to do HIG and commercial development from where he can make money or additional profits out of the whole thing. And the government has fixed the prices for the EWS housing as 2.5 lakhs, the LIG housing as 4 lakhs, the MIG housing as 7 lakhs. That's capped. So that's a very successful project that Shapurji Palanji are doing in Calcutta, with roughly about 25,000 houses being delivered over a 6 or 7 year time frame, if I am not mistaken.
One more thing, this EW, economically weaker section, these words, you see, poor people, they do not like that word. And therefore, we can only say that this house is available for 6 lakhs, 7 lakhs, 8 lakhs. Why economically weaker? Because then the clerks will not go there. They will say that we don't want to stay with the peons. Therefore, forget this discrimination of word, EWS. This is the houses which are available at 6 lakhs, 8 lakhs, 10 lakhs. And then I think that the purpose or the object of constitution, that all should be equal, that also will be fulfilled.
Fair enough. Point noted. Yes, Parul Ben.
We Indians have a habit of, repeating the mistakes that others have done. We don't want to learn from them and leapfrog. We are following West blindly, whereas West is, they have taken a complete circle and they are coming back into mixed income housing and mixed use housing. So that's where they find that crime rate is minimum and health parameters improve, because those are high density 4 to 5 storied buildings where people walk. And when you have mixed income, mixed use housing, not only housing, the development, I wouldn't just say the housing, Again, the places are active. It's not like that CBD and there's no one there at night, at late night. You don't have those conditions there. So why can't we address these issues? Then there wouldn't be a question of EWS. There have been successful cases of such developments where 30 square meter and 5,000 square meter houses exist in the same development, and no gated communities.
Right. So I think all of you should take a look at Shuko Brishti, because this addresses your concern as well, that, you know, mixed housing, mixed use housing, all existing together. That's been successfally done at Shuko Brishti. I've just been prompted.
In fact, the 5,000 square feet house requires 30 square meter by the side of it.
Exactly.
Where will the help come from?
Yes.
We need to support each other, and
where
today
will the
the
help come
commute
from?
problem would be gone.
Yes. I've just been prompted that we are running short of time, and I'll have to close this session. So a huge round of applause for all my panel members here. Thank you, everybody, and the audience for giving us a patient hearing. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much indeed. I'm going to request our panel members to please remain on the stage. Firstly, can we have a huge round of applause to thank them as well? And we'd also like to thank Mr. Neera for extracting those wonderful perspectives from our panel members. I'd like to invite Mr. Sanjay Kaul, the DGM Business Development with Somani Ceramics, to please come on stage to present the mementos to all of our panel members as a token of gratitude. Firstly, to our session moderator, Mr. Neerav Kothari. The next memento to architect Hiren Gandhi. To Mr. Amit Sahai. To Mr. Bhushan Avasthi. To Mr. Nilod Polkar. And to Mr. Parth Patel. Thank you once again, panel members. Thank you very much indeed.